4, continuing an interview today with Jim Shibata on December 4th, 2013. And we were just talking about, your education after being in the Air Force and kind of an adult life. And one thing that we talked about before the interview started that I wanted to hear more about on the tape was your involvement with Aikido.
Oh, okay.
And I wonder if you could tell me how that started and just more about that.
It all started when I attended a demonstration of Aikido. However, it wasn't the demonstration that impressed me so much. They had a little write-up of what Aikido is about. This goes back to way before I started. However, what was written on that piece of paper really kind of triggered my interest that, hey, this is something that's going to be what I would really like to train in. And before that, I had just a little bit of judo training in Japan, but I didn't go very far. I didn't get very far in it. But this, for some deep reason, was something that I just remembered that I'm interested in this, and I want to look into this. Okay, but it didn't happen until 1968.
When was the demonstration?
The demonstration was way before. I can't remember the year, but it was a number of years before I actually sought a place to train in.
What was it that grabbed you about what you read?
It talked about something besides just competition. Okay, and I can't remember the exact word that triggered my interest, but at least I remember that I was interested in it and I was going to look for a place to train. So in 1968, which was years after, I can't remember the number of years, but years after I got interested in it, I looked for a place, and I could only find one place in this whole LA area that had Aikido training. And that place still exists today. And it's called the LA Aiki-kai, or Los Angeles Aiki-kai. Okay. And so I started there. And while I was there, one of the instructors there, there were several instructors that taught the classes. There were many classes there. And one of the instructors I found out had another club at the Torrance High School. It's called West High School in Torrance, that he was conducting another class of Aikido in. And I found out that his class was much closer to where I was living. So therefore, and then I wasn't too satisfied with the LA Aiki-kai, so therefore I transferred to the other Aikido class at the West High School. And there I continued for a long time with that class, whose instructor had another class going in the LA area, more central to LA, and which was more his headquarters class. So I became, I started training at West High School as well as his other class, and I trained with him for quite a long time until about 19. What was it? Okay, it was about 1986. I said I started in 86, but it was actually 68 that I started, 1960, okay. By 1986, I decided, okay, this training is not getting me to where I should be getting to, so therefore, I was going to look for another class that would satisfy my own expectations, okay, or go independent and do my own research. And just at that time, one other person who was originally from Japan invited another master instructor from Japan to conduct a seminar in the Los Angeles area. And so, anyway, I decided after I met this master instructor, I decided I'm very interested in his training because I was impressed with his character when I met him, and I'll tell you why afterwards. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to and the person who invited this master instructor asked me if I were interested in supporting his seminars in this country or in the LA area. And I said, yes, I will be. And so later, after that, about five groups of Aikido practitioners, okay, decided that they would like to join, in a group that would be inviting his seminars. But to make the story short, okay, what I wanted to do was to dedicate the training to the master instructors, training. Okay. However, the rest of the people, except one person who was the original person who invited him to this country, was interested in dedicating or completely dedicating our training to this master instructor, okay, because they wanted to keep associating with their old group, okay, and inviting other instructors for seminars. Okay, so I just ended up with another person as a group to continue inviting the so-called master instructor. And so that this went on for roughly 13, 14 years. Okay, and before I go on, let me tell you why I was very impressed with this person, which I still am. However, he's already passed away in 2005. He showed what I later found out what the training, this Aikido training is all about. And this Aikido training I'm referring to is the Aikido training from the founder of this Aikido that many people are trying to study. And he kind of fitted the description of what this training was about. In other words, the character transformation of that person, of each person, okay, in order to really understand what Aikido training is about. So somehow I realized that, okay, this person had that already, you know, this person, okay, because of his transformation of his character, he was, he impressed me. Okay, and indeed, okay, about 13 years later, I realized I was correct, because his training methodology follows the founder's philosophy and what this Aikido training is about. Okay. However, hardly anybody understood what the philosophy of the founder was as he stated it. Okay. However, this other person, master instructor I'm referring to, knew how to express that better than the founder. Okay, and that's my impression, and I think others have found it the same thing. So that it follows that if you could master the so-called master instructor's lesson training method, okay, then you should be able to approach the founder's Aikido. Okay, so this is how I continued to train with him for 13, 14 years. Okay, and I'm still mentally, okay, going over his methodology of training. Okay, so anyway, okay, so the challenge now is to prove that, okay, I have found the right way to train to approach, okay, the original founder's Aikido.
And you were talking before we started the interview about, you gave a really just eloquent sort of description of the philosophy of Aikido. Mm-hmm. And you said earlier in the tape, that it wasn't about competition, but I wonder if you would say what it is about.
It's about this character transformation that a person has to go through to understand what the founder was talking about. And that character transformation is to return to the universe, or return to the divine. In other words, the universe that I'm describing is the universal, complete. What I'm describing is the universal harmony, which is actually the universe, how things happen. Okay, and to be in harmony with how things happen. Okay, for example, how much of the universe do we really know? Okay, scientists are discovering new things about the universe every day. Okay, but this Aikido is to be able to harmonize with that changing universe. Okay, so that if you are able to do that, okay, it is that divine station that is identical to that divine. That's how I interpret it. Okay, in other words, okay, that is God. The universe is God, who knows exactly what the universe is about. Okay, so if you could get into that, become that, if you could become that, then you will really understand and be able to do what the founder did physically. That's where the demonstration of the techniques come in. It's almost like the experiments which proves the philosophy or the theory. Okay. Okay, so that's where I want to be. Okay. So far, nobody has reached that point or caught up with the founder. Okay, and the founder said, after you catch up with me, there's more. You have to keep going, because the universe is changing. Okay? So that there's more. You're just catching up with him is getting to where he got, okay? And you have to keep going. So that's why I say, okay, so it's the same as the divine.
Who is the founder? What is his name?
His name is Morihei Ueshiba.
And this instructor that you had that's still...
His name is, what's his first name? Shoji Nishio. Well, that's how my memory is going, right?
I know.
Bang, 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 bang. Yeah.
So,
but yeah, that's why he's been so important to me. And unfortunately, you know, can you believe it? He was just 1 year older than I. And he passed away in 2005. You know, that's why it was kind of really too early, because I could have learned. Everybody could have learned much more from him. So he really kind of assured me that, okay, we're on the right path, okay, towards the founder. Okay. Many of what's going on, okay, I've been outspoken again, you know, about this, that many of what's going on labeled Aikido, okay, is not on the same path, okay, because you could just tell by what the technique demonstration shows. So it's very important. Once you know, it's like, you know, just enjoying the conflicts and the the violence
like
that's
the
going on, the violence that goes on today. Okay. If you don't enjoy that, you have to get on the other path, O-sensei's path. Yeah, O-sensei is who the name we use O-sensei means the great teacher, or the unique teacher. Okay, that's what we call the founder.
What is your group called, or your practice?
We have our name. You know, where we practice is the Venice Aikido Club, which is sponsored by the Venice Aikido Community Center. Okay, and so we as a club, okay, follow this teaching. Okay, and which also, what I'm implying here is that other clubs may or may not be following the same teaching.
Sure.
Okay. So this is why, you know, when you want to study Aikido, you have to make sure, okay, you want to study the Aikido which is on the right path.
Yeah, it sounds like it's been very powerful for you, obviously.
But the members of the other groups will tell you differently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.